It is time to begin, ladies and gentlemen. It's an unusual show because part one, Chris Louie came in to talk about several things. We got to a lot of subjects. Flynn showed up at the end of that show, so that was great. So now this is Vince's show, but Chris Louie's agreed to stay for a few minutes to be on the beginning of that. I just think it's fascinating that you guys have never run into one another. But you don't really get out that much, do you?
No, I'm pretty much on my couch or I'm practicing at the facility.
And I don't get out much more anymore.
You don't anymore either.
Especially since my diagnosis. It's just...
I don't either.
It's there's certain things I don't eat red meat anymore. I try to eat organic and healthier, and there's not a lot of restaurants in town that can accommodate that. We should let everyone know that you're doing extremely well. PSA 0. My last scans looked great. Said really had gone from a year ago. Not even really. I was limping horribly. I was in a lot of pain. Now I feel fantastic.
It was an interesting thing because when the diagnosis came down, Vince and I talked quite a bit, and I said to him, because we're very good friends, I said to him, I'm going to leave you alone. Mm-hmm. He goes, and I remember you said, you're probably the only guy that understands that's what I need.
Yeah. You really don't. Everybody handles it differently. Some people need it. Some people will curl up in a ball and say, why is me? Why me? God, why are you being a jerk? That thought never crossed my mind. It was just, I've led a very blessed life. I got a great wife, great career, great kids, and it happened. Your choices then, it's Chris. It's a little bit like being down, 14 points at halftime, and some clown walks in the locker room and says, "We're fucked." That's not the way you handle that.
Not good.
No, you gotta just kind of knuckle down and a lot of prayer, a lot of faith, and you got to fight for it. Yep. And my doctors down, Bill Utes here in town and Eugene Kwan down at the Mayo Clinic have all said they're patients that stay positive, live. And the ones that just throw up their arms and say this sucks, they tend to not do very well.
That's what I understand, yeah.
And some people want to be surrounded. Mm-hmm. I needed to just be there and get focused. And you get sick of talking about it. That's the other thing about cancer.
Yeah.
It becomes so about you. Yeah. And my life is enough about me with my job.
No question.
You get sick. I always say, I do not understand how these politicians do it. Every time I go on tour, 2-3 days into it, I call my wife and I say, I am so fucking sick of hearing myself speak. It is, I can't stand it. And I don't know how, these guys are, when I go on tour for a month, those guys, it's that month times about 5.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And I don't know how you don't just absolutely jump off the stage one day and do a face plant. It becomes nauseating.
I got to tell you something fascinating. But I was told this, and Chris has not told me that this is true, but several people have told me it takes you to read an average about 300. What's the average now? About 365 pages?
Yeah, so I'd say 350.
350.
Yeah.
Takes you a half an hour to read that.
No, that's way too quick. Probably like 3 hours. 3.5 hours.
3.5. That's not what Hagen told me.
he was probably fabricating there. But, no, I read very quickly. I've always been able to, and it's books are something I really enjoy. I really enjoy reading a lot because you can learn a lot of different concepts and ideas from a lot of different people.
Yeah, well, there's no question about that. So it basically would take him about 45 hours, about a work week to read your library.
The entire library, or I thought where you were going with that is it would take him 15 minutes to read the third option.
The third option. It would take you about 15 minutes to read that.
Hey, I have a question for Chris, because usually you like to lull me to sleep when I'm on live, and then announce that a guest.
On you.
Yeah, I'll sit there in the studio for 2 hours reading the newspaper, and all of a sudden, when we come back from the next break, Vince Flynn's going to interview our next guest, and I'm like, what?
Oh, that's right. You did the interview. I did that to you. Who did you interview?
Yeah,
well, you did a great job.
I did I did it just kind of to make you laugh. But my first question was, so where'd you go to high school?
What was your major?
What parish are you from? But I got a question. You're a special teams guy.
Yep.
Great game on Sunday against Detroit.
Thank you.
When you being a special teams guy, do you cringe for the for the Lions special teams coach? Are you sitting there going, this guy might be out of a job by 5 o'clock tonight?
Yeah, it's tough because on the one hand, we're really excited that, obviously we're scoring points and helping the team win. But on the other hand, I've been on that side of the equation. Mm-hmm. I've had quite a few run-ins with Devin Hester over the years. I know how
you are a big part of Devin's highlight reel.
I'm so glad I could come into the league with the best returner of all time.
In the same division.
Yeah, in the same division. Thanks for that. That is true. But it sucks because we're all out there, trying to do our job to the best of our ability, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. It's just, no matter what you game plan, no matter what you tell guys, sometimes either guys miss their assignments or the other team just outplays you.
Executes.
Yeah. I think that's one thing fans sometimes forget is that everyone on the field is trying to win the game, not just your team. Both sides are doing their best to try and win. So. No.
Okay, so I haven't even met your wife, and she's going to hate me. So you better get going.
All right.
Please come back very soon.
Oh yeah.
Fascinating subject.
Yeah, whenever you want.
Oh God, it's the greatest, and you'll get there in time to get back to the airport, won't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got time.
Oh, good.
Their flight's not till like 2:55, so I made sure I built in some buffer room.
Because you knew I'd do this.
It's always better to be safe than sorry.
Exactly. Well, thank you.
So, cool. Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
I'll give you a quick call. Drive carefully. Don't speed.
Okay. I'll try not to. It's 110 is the bad one, right?
It's 110. That's they call it the Adrian Peters.
Yeah. Exactly.
Very good.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Louie of the Minnesota Vikings, talking about several different subjects. We've never done this. Well, I think we did it one other time with Louie Anderson and Wendy Liebman, where one interview kind of bled over into the other.
Well, they were just both at the same interview. It was technically Louie's,
that was the whole time.
Yeah, Wendy was there too. For the whole thing.
Yeah, but it just turns out to be a lot of fun going on that way. Chris is leaving the building now, so Vince,
Thomas.
Oh, Catherine had you move over, so she's sitting in her spot.
I don't think I've heard Tony speak in about half an hour. Is he even there anymore?
Tony.
Yeah, he had to leave.
Oh, he did?
Oh, well.
Tony went to the restroom.
He said that he wasn't going to be here for the second interview.
Oh, he's not going to be for the second interview?
I think he just dropped.
All right.
Oh, well.
I wish I would have known he was going to do that.
All right, so I had kind of a cool deal.
Listen to how they're talking. They're just out there schmoozing. You had a what?
I'm on the way over here, and my publicist from New York, David Brown, calls, who's a great guy. He says, what are you doing? We're trying to get ready for interviews for the release in November. And he says, I told him, I said, I'm going over to Tommy B's house for the podcast. And this guy's in New York. Mm-hmm. And this shows your reach. He says, you know what? He's one of the top-rated downloads on iTunes right now.
He knew that?
He knew all about it.
Jesus, that's odd.
So he said to me, all right, do me a favor. He said, you got to announce on the podcast that if you go to vinceflynn.com, we're going to give away an advance reader's copy of The Last Man every Friday from now until the book pubs on November 13th.
Jesus.
Oh, my God, your Twitter fans are going to go crazy.
So you get a sneak peek.
I put the fact that you were going to be interviewed this week on Twitter. Mm-hmm. There's two sites. There's Vince Flynn Books, right? And
Vince Flynn Fans.
Vince Flynn Fans. And they are all very excited about the fact that you're going to be on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Everybody on Twitter and Facebook.
Well, this is the best format.
It is a great format.
It is.
As Tom and I have long joked, there's a certain radio station in town that should be taught in every communications school across the country of how to take a flagship AM radio station and drive it into the ditch.
Yeah, God, that's the truth.
And one of the ways to do it is ignore how the landscape changes.
Right.
And then decide that you're going to do... Is the traffic on the 8s or 9s now?
8s.
Every 8 minutes. And, Dave Lee is a lot of great people who I've known over the years. They're fantastic.
Great guy.
It is so hard to do an interview when your window to talk is 3 to 4 minutes, and then you have to stop.
For 8 minutes of commercials.
And then you start again, and it's 3 to 4 minutes, and stop. So, there are a lot of good people over there. It's a really difficult format to conduct any meaningful type of interview.
Yeah, this is the fact that, in radio, people would not understand if all of a sudden we're interviewing Chris Louie, And then all of a sudden Vince Flynn shows up, and instead of going, oh, well, we got to cut this segment now, and we'll go to commercial, and then we'll be back with Vince Flynn. It's just you just literally walked into the room, sat down, and started bullshitting with Chris Cluey, who turns out is just a great guy.
Very nice guy. Now, I know, since this guy was one of your personal idols, it's very similar to the old Charlie Rose show.
Yeah, absolutely.
For your listeners who maybe don't understand this part of Tom does not like smug, arrogant people.
I do not. It's true. I'm not very. I don't do well on the smug, arrogant people deal, and Chris is not that at all.
No.
He's just a wonderful, wonderful guy. But what's the name of the new book?
The Last Man.
The Last Man.
Pubs on November 13th.
45 days according to Twitter, right?
Yeah, readers are a little confused because normally I pub in the middle of October.
That's what I thought.
Oh.
Last year, we actually had to bump it to February because my cancer really flared up, and I started radiation last August, beginning of August. And I couldn't meet the deadline.
Right.
So we moved to February, and sales were great. The publisher was surprised because they kind of think of that as a dead zone time of the year for publishing. But they wanted to get back on the fall schedule this year, so we were going to pub the middle of October, and then found out that Grisham was coming out with a book in the fall for the first time on the same day.
Oh.
And we're selling well, but he's still, the 800-pound gorilla in the room.
Right.
And we started talking to David Brown, who heads publicity, and we were just saying, you know what? Nobody is going to be talking about anything other than the election for all of October.
Yeah, that's very true.
So let's move it to the week after, and we think it was a good move.
I think it is, too.
Well, I get back from Vegas then, so,
Yeah, you're always in such a good mood when you get back from Vegas.
Yeah,
I think he's finally come to terms with that, maybe.
Hopefully.
Maybe.
So
Maybe.
the problem that I see there, and the only problem I see there is, you're going to be on the road pretty much surrounding Thanksgiving, aren't you?
No.
You're not going to do it?
I'm not going to tour. I didn't tour last book either. A lot of it is my immune system with the cancer. I've got to be careful about how much interaction I have and try to keep that as juiced as possible. And this will be the 14th book, and there is not the previous 12 tours, because I didn't tour last time. I got deathly ill on every tour. Yeah. I'd finish the tour and come home and basically collapse, if not kind of collapse midway through it. Your day typically goes like this. You wake up at 5 a.m, you pack, you jump in a car to the airport, you land in another city, you go to a morning radio station, maybe TV. Right. You run around and do a bunch of events during the day, and then you got a signing at night. And, thank God the events were getting so big. I'd show up at 6 to do pre-signs, hit the stage at 7, talk for about 45 minutes, and I wouldn't get out of there till 10, 10:30, 11 o'clock. Yeah. Back to the hotel, you're trying to eat, pack, get up at 5 the next morning.
Well, you're not eating well. You can't exercise.
That's the other thing. The cancer woke me up to the fact that I couldn't eat at airports anymore unless it was fruit.
That's true. Yeah.
Otherwise, the stuff is so filled with preservatives, and it's just, and you feel like crap. So your immune system gets beat down. You're on airplanes. You're in hotel rooms. You're shaking thousands of hands. I don't know how these politicians do it. I have no idea.
Some people love attention.
Andy, would you do me a favor?
I think you're
right.
right.
Would you dial that 203 number on there?
Why?
Somebody wants to say hello.
Catherine, I think you're 100% right.
Which one?
The 203 number. It's about the fifth one down.
Oh, you want me to dial it on? Oh, okay.
On the show, yeah.
I thought you meant on your cell phone. I was like, why?
That's what I was just doing. I was just dialing it for him.
That's a very good. I didn't even realize. Well, back when the show first started, 27 years ago, with Mark Rosen, and it was just this huge thing. And I remember we went to a baseball game together, and people lined up to shake our hands for an hour and a half. And I'll never forget. It was because it's the first time it ever happened to me. Mm-hmm. Before then I was just doing whatever. But I remember after I was done, I looked down at my hand, and my hand was bleeding. So that's what it looked like. Now it turned out it was somebody else's blood.
Well, and if you know Tom, he instantly ran to the CDC and said, "I've got AIDS. I know it."
There's nothing wrong with it.
He's the worst.
Yeah. Hi, is Mitch there?
This is Mitch.
Mitch, this is the Tom Barnard Podcast, and there's a special guest we have on the show today. ladies and gentlemen, Mitch Dolan.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Vince Flynn is with us. Mitch, we are on the podcast, so you're going to become like internationally famous.
Well, that's very exciting. I am, firstly, Catherine, how you doing?
Hi. I'm great. How are you?
Did Tom tell you about our conversation?
No, he did
where
not.
My big recommendation was more pictures of Catherine on the podcast page.
No, he did not. Thank you very much, though.
And Vince, I might have mentioned the same thing about Lisa. So I'm not saying it's appropriate, but it's what came to mind.
Mitch, how's your reindeer sweater doing? That was the last time I saw you.
No, I have added to the collection. It's very strong. I have a snowman. I have a Santa.
We had a conversation last night. Mitch Dolan, by the way, to introduce him, was the president of ABC Radio. Well, that was your title?
Yeah, actually it was.
Mitch was my boss, and he is, and I can say this, and if somebody hears it and doesn't like it, they can go fuck themselves.
Boom, there it is.
There you go.
Mitch is, I wish to this day that Mitch Dolan were still my boss, because you were the greatest guy to work for in history.
You know, it's not like I'm dead or anything.
Well, you just let Tom do whatever he wanted. That was always the best way to handle it.
That's that's sort of the mechanism. Just agree with Tom and say yes. And
how do you think I stayed married all these years?
Smart managers get out of the way, right, Mitch?
Yeah, there you go.
You know when to get out of the way.
Pretty similar to the marriage strategy. How many years you guys been married now?
27.
Seems like yesterday.
I actually was asking Catherine that to see if she came up
27.
with the number.
Yeah, she probably wouldn't.
16.
So last night, by coincidence, Vince is going to come in and do the podcast this morning. So I'm falling asleep in a chair. I had actually fallen asleep in a chair, and the phone rang, and I answered it. It's Mitch. And Mitch and I have not spoken, what has been 14 months now, I think it was the 4th of July, 2011.
Too long.
You irritated
It was
him.
way too long. Well, because I what?
Because you irritated him.
Because I irritated him. So I said...
Fall asleep in the chair, though. That's similar to what the listeners of your podcast are doing right now.
Hey!
Oh, here we go.
Why did you call him?
So anyway, because he wanted to say hello to Vince. But Mitch and I started talking about that Christmas dinner we had.
Oh, it was a riot.
There were about 10 of us.
Yes.
It was Mitch and Fran, of course, hosting the thing. It was just a beautiful dinner setup. Drank some great wine. So it was Mitch and Fran, Vince and Lisa, Catherine and me, Brian Williams.
Who was smashed. Oh, wait, that's right. He doesn't drink.
Yeah, Brian Williams doesn't drink, but other than that.
His lovely wife.
Jane.
Jane, she's really nice.
Jane. We talked about Jane last night, as a matter of fact.
And then Mitch got the guitar out, and you started singing.
We drank some really great wine, had wonderful food. We got the guitar out and started singing.
All the wrong words.
The only problem there was one. What did I refer to him last night as again? I can't remember the other guy that was there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fuck
our
what?
old chairman from Citadel.
Him.
You know, when the guitar. One of the great things about you guys is that you have. The guitar coming out and the stupid Beatles and Eagles songs. You have not heard all those, so many, dozens and hundreds of times, like my family and friends around here, who usually just run for the exits when that starts happening. So that was that was greatly appreciated. And the words, Catherine, who cares?
Yes.
Yeah, who cares about
Spoken
that?
like a true guitar player.
He never knows.
But
I never know anyway.
I reminded Mitch last night, he's sitting at the head of the table. It was in his house, so he's sitting where he's supposed to be at the head of the table. And he said, looking around the room at all the women, he said, I feel like I fell asleep and woke up on Planet Babe.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Alex, our daughter Alex, who you met last 4th of July, as a matter of fact.
It does sound cheesy when it's told that way. It was really in the
It was
sort of
cute
context,
then.
It was absolutely appropriate.
It was
slightly perverted.
Slightly perverted. By the way, Mitch, Alex is here, too. You met Alex.
Alex, how you doing?
At the Spectacular last year.
Wow, this is... It's like the cast of Godspell. This is
exactly. I get that a lot.
So anyway, I'm going to get out of the way.
Well, Vince, I am just waiting for November 13th.
Well, I think we might be able
to
slide you a copy beforehand.
Well, that I would not be so overt as to
Can you help facilitate that, Tommy?
Yes, I can. You know what? Listen to Mitch being all humble.
And we'll, maybe when we get off the podcast here, Vince, we'll talk about how in pursuit of honor, you name just about everybody else that you know at the radio stations in New York, except your old buddy. Wow.
Except for your old buddy.
Hey, Bernie McGurk got killed in the last book.
Mitch, there's no more rooms for any more Mitches in that book, I guess.
Well, we could just go around telling everybody that he was named after you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I love about this is Vince is nice enough to say, well, hey, we can get you an advance copy, and Mitch Dolan, I wouldn't go so far as... When we showed up at Mitch's house that night, he had about 600 fucking books stacked up for Vince to autograph. How many books was that, actually?
Well, yeah, we had a few. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, I don't know if you know this, Tom, but he's a fairly successful and popular author.
That's what I understand.
Really?
Out there.
That's what I understand.
Kind of you to say, Mitch.
Well, it's all true. Mitch, say hello to Franny. And everybody else. Tell Brian next time. We'll call him next time on the podcast.
Yeah, that's he starts working on nightly about 5:45. So for 6:30 broadcast. So he's not even up yet.
Yeah, well, there you go. All right, my friend. We'll talk soon.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye, Mitch.
Bye, Mitch. One of the great guys. Seriously.
He is a great guy.
There's no reason for me to bullshit anybody. I loved working for him.
I got a chance to, first time I met him, we were at Jack's Cafe having dinner, celebrating one of your new contracts, I think.
Yeah.
Just fantastic guy, and then I got to see him in New York every so often when I'd go into town, and that dinner up in Connecticut was just an absolute riot.
That was an amazing dinner. That was one of my
fun.
favorite dinners of all time.
Yeah, what was that? What was the guy's name? The Wahid? What was the Fareed, that's it.
Yeah.
Our favorite fella.
Walked away with $36 million, from what I understand, from the bankruptcy.
Isn't that nice?
Isn't that
How
just
does that
wonderful?
work?
So a year and a half later, he walked away with that much money.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. That was an amazing situation. But I don't. But Mitch is a huge fan of Vince. Not only a friend, but a huge fan of Vince's. So when I mentioned you were going to be on
movie
today.
coming? What?
Oh,
what's going on?
Well, hopefully we have a movie coming out. Bruce Willis agreed a month ago to play Stan Hurley in American Assassin, and that's Mitch Rapp's mentor.
Wonderful.
Well, if I get an email yesterday forwarded from my agent in New York, from the agent in L.A. saying it's not done, they're still countering, CA wants more money, blah, blah, blah. So we thought it was done, and I think it still probably is. He wants to do it. CBS Films really wants him to do it. But they won't start shooting until next August because his schedule's so busy.
Oh, really?
But he's when I wrote that character, Stan Hurley, I mean, he appears in some other books, but when I wrote the young Stan Hurley, which, he's in his mid-40s, I wrote it thinking of Bruce.
Oh, you did?
I kept thinking I wanted to take Bruce Willis and then kind of give him Don Imus's, crabby attitude about life. and he's one of my favorite characters I've ever written because he's a guy who's had so much success that he thinks basically everybody who is younger than him is an abject moron, and a lot of the people who are older than him are abject morons. Oh. And so he does not have the attention. He has the attention span of a gnat, not because he can't focus, but because he can't tolerate imbeciles. And he just wants people to understand that his way is the right way, and I've done this 100 times, so just stop asking stupid questions and do what I tell you to do.
Right.
And it was liberating to write that character because these books are supposed to, to a certain degree, be escapism.
Right.
And a lot of people read these books because they would like to talk to their boss someday like that.
Absolutely.
They would like to stand up in a conference room and say to somebody from the Justice Department, "You are a fucking moron.
And I hate your guts, and I hope you die." Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Because I heard Matt Damon was going to.
There was some discussion of that. I never took it seriously because he did Jason Bourne.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I was wondering.
And, we keep dancing around this issue of you can deviate from the book. You have to. To a certain degree, you have to, because if you tried to take American Assassin and film the whole thing, it'd be a 10-hour movie. So you got to cut a lot of stuff. Where I think filmmakers blow it is when they deviate from kind of the core of the character.
Yeah.
And Lee Child is a good friend. And the Jack Reacher series is fantastic. And Jack Reacher is a 6'5" badass former military policeman. Well, they cast Tom Cruise to play him, and Tom's 5'8".
Yeah, that didn't work.
And I like Tom Cruise as an actor, but I don't know how he's going to pull it off. Now, the Mitch Rapp deal, Mitch Rapp looks a certain way because if you're going to go undercover in the Middle East, you can't have blonde hair and blue eyes.
Right.
So the first mention of Matt Damon, I'm like, that doesn't work.
No.
How can he walk around,
Wear a
Riyadh?
wig.
Well, you can try to do some of the makeup, but I've always felt that we're going to end up with an Australian or a Kiwi because they don't give a crap. A lot of American actors come with a political agenda.
Yeah, they do that.
And
we're sick of it.
Yes, and we are sick of it. No, you know what?
I know. I'm so sick of it.
Who was it? Just a couple of weeks ago, somebody opened their mouth. And Lisa and I were watching TV, and another actor opened their mouth and shot it off. And we looked at each other and said, well, I guess we're not going to be watching any of their movies anymore.
No, it's true. Well, the guy, Game of Thrones, he gained some success in the second season. All of a sudden, he has to tell us what his political views are. I haven't watched an episode
you mean the
since.
Director?
Yeah, the director.
Yeah, I did the George Bush's head on a spit or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, he went after that. He then came out publicly to say, "Oh, here's how I feel about it." It's like, come on, I'd like to enjoy something. Could you just shut up?
Yeah.
But you're right. If you watch independent film or European, like British films, you just don't get that.
No, the Brits don't do it. The Kiwis don't do it. The New Zealanders, the Kiwis and the Aussies don't do it. But American actors, there's some goofy deal where they all feel like they've got to put their heart on their sleeve and tell everybody about every left-wing cause they care about. It was Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
I love that guy. I mean, Pulp Fiction, he's fantastic.
No
question.
He does it, and Lisa, we're just crushed. Pulp Fiction is one of our favorite movies. I think Quentin Tarantino's an absolute genius.
Right.
He does that, and you're like, why? Why did you have to do that, Samuel? I don't want to watch another movie of yours now because you shoot your mouth off like this.
I know, just because you can pretend you're somebody else doesn't mean that you know everything about the world.
Hoping people are going to drown in the Gulf of Mexico. I remember that.
Here's the other thing. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it if, let's say, 1 out of every 10 actually was a libertarian or a conservative, but they're all left-wing. That takes no courage. When you work in a town where everybody has the exact same opinion about these 10 hot-button left-wing issues, there's no courage
you don't have
involved.
to speak. You don't even have to speak. We know.
Oh, it's really brave to stand up in Hollywood and say, I'm for gay marriage. Oh, you are so courageous. Are you serious? Come on.
Now, you didn't like my Timothy Oliphant idea, huh? I always thought he'd be a perfect.
No, it's still being discussed.
He's wonderful.
First of all, Justified is our favorite show on television.
Phenomenal.
It is so good.
Great.
Even my wife loves it.
Yeah, it is good.
It's a great show.
But the problem now, so we went back and did American Assassin. Originally, it was going to be Rapp in his mid-30s, and now it's Rapp in his mid-20s.
Oh, okay.
So it takes a whole cast of actors and just removes them from the table.
Right. God, who are you going to get?
Russell Crowe.
He's too old.
In his mid-20s?
We need somebody in their mid-20s, and I do think it's going to end up being, one of these Hemsworth brothers, probably from down under.
Oh,
somebody like that.
Yeah.
And with Bruce Willis to open it, you can take somebody who isn't as well-known, kind of mold them into the character.
Yeah.
People forget, Matt Damon, his career was not exactly red hot when he filmed the first Bourne movie.
That's
and people
true,
did not think he was going to be able to pull off that role, and he did a phenomenal job.
Oh, he did. There's no question that he did. As a matter of fact, the new stuff, what's the guy's name? Jeremy Renner.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see that new one.
Not so good.
You're still going to theaters?
No.
He does on occasion.
We have Netflix and Vudu.
Same thing.
Every once in a while I get him to the Edina.
Why do you have Apple TV, don't you?
We have Apple TV, and we also have Amazon Prime and Netflix, and I'm about to tear it all out of the house because my lovely 11-year-old daughter, who's the only person I've ever heard tell Tom Barnard off.
She did. She started yelling at me.
My daughter, Ingrid.
Only she was, about 7 at the time?
5, maybe.
Yeah, maybe 5.
She's a very determined little thing, and she she is absolutely addicted to this stuff. You know, she's got her iPad, so she gets on Netflix and just watches all. And you used to be able to send your kid to the room. You know, go to your bedroom. You think you had it handled.
Yeah.
Now you go in there and they got the iPad out and they're live chatting with their buddies and you got to rip that thing out of there. And
I thought I was being clever when Mom sent me to my room and I booted up the old Mac Classic 2. 4 colors, all gray.
Played Chopper Rescue or whatever.
Oh no, this was before that. This was like Reader Rabbit and Notepad. That's about it.
Well, but at least that was educational.
Well, yeah, there's that. I did actually learn a good deal about computers, just, screwing around with that thing, breaking it a few times.
Just by doing that.
And then eventually
With the
Mom was
sad
just
Mac.
like, you can have it. It doesn't work anymore.
Buy online by going to the Amazon.com banner at TomBarnardPodcast.com. They don't charge you a penny more. A small portion of what they sell go through our site. Helps.
What are you doing? God, they're always screwing around over there.
Buy. Sorry, Tony. He's editing.
No, don't.
How many Marconis have they won?
Yeah. How about that? That's right.
Several. Thank you
right.
very much.
Buy online by going to the Amazon.com banner at TomBarnardPodcast.com. They don't charge you a penny more. A small portion of what they sell through our site helps support the show, and it's what keeps the show free for our listeners. Click and shop today on the Amazon banner at TomBarnardPodcast.com. And she's still over there doing this one, right?
And when you're going to
They
buy
did nothing.
Vince's books, buy them through our site on the Amazon banner.
Exactly.
Oh, good idea.
Yes, and
Go to
Good
my
plan.
website, VinceFlynn.com.
Yes.
No.
And we're going to give away an advanced reader's copy every Friday from now until the book pubs on November 13th.
Very cool.
You were not in the room when Vince was talking about the fact he went to his publisher, and he told him he was going to be on the podcast, and his publisher knew all about it. He said,
Oh, that's great.
One of the top-rated podcasts on Apple, iTunes.
Cool.
Absolutely.
We always knew it.
Yeah.
The one mistake that I made right away, though, Vince, with this was giving Tom the numbers, the analytics, the username
God,
and password.
He's obsessed.
No,
Shouldn't have done that.
No.
never.
why? You figure
Sounds
out
like
trends.
day trading. You learned that a long time ago.
How
Give
would
your
I-
money to somebody else. Check it monthly, quarterly, but never daily.
There was a reason for doing this at first 6 weeks, because I picked up on a trend that somebody was screwing up, right?
Yes.
Okay. A certain company was not reporting their data.
A very
Were
large
they
company.
overflating Latino homes in the Twin City market?
They just
Bring that up.
It's a very famous company. It's a very famous company that does not like to share data with anyone.
Maybe you've heard of it.
And maybe you've heard of it.
Her name does not have anything to do with oranges.
Yeah, exactly.
Vince is like, what
He's
the
trying to figure
hell?
Okay, Mr. Espionage Writer.
I don't get it either.
Going citrus, lemon,
Apples.
apples.
Oh.
Got it.
Just had to
you
say
said
it.
right.
No, the problem that we've had is I've gotten a few dozen people say I can't download your podcast after the 20th one because this company, for some reason, and we'll be able to find out what that is, won't we?
Well, they don't like to share web stats in general, but we're going to try to contact them.
But they got to report our downloads. Isn't that like 60% of our downloads comes out of Apple Core?
Yes, and Apple Core, which is all Apple, all iTunes media. Their huge benefit for this is you get somebody to go to Apple or to iTunes, and then they download a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, you want the site visits.
Exactly.
So they're not reporting our downloads. It's like, well, that's nice.
Not accurately.
So everybody call Apple and complain.
Nah, I don't
Not
know.
Have Chris
Yeah.
Louie
That'll make it
write
even.
a letter.
That'll make it even worse. Don't do that.
but I call who? That's the other thing about
Yeah.
Apple.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly
Who
right.
do you
Vince.
call? Where's the 1-800 helpline?
they're-
Well,
We
there's
could
usually
get
some sort of sheet on
Chris
the...
Louie could write a letter.
You could write them a letter. Listen, you cock monster.
Does Chris like to write letters?
Yes.
Chris does like to write
It's
letters.
all about
yeah.
the letter writing.
You
He's
mean editorial letters, or what do you mean?
well. The situation. What was it? The city councilman again? Or
yeah.
was it city
Maryland.
council?
State delegate.
There.
you go, Maryland State
Somebody.
delegate.
One of those people.
One of the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know if he's gay or not, but he came out supporting gay marriage. So this Maryland State delegate blasted the Baltimore Ravens player for doing that. And when Chris saw that, to defend his fellow NFLer, he wrote a letter to this state delegate. It was just, he's called, hey, let me just point out one thing to you. If gay marriage is allowed. It's not going to turn you into a lustful cockmonger. He actually wrote him a letter. It's like, oh my God. No, he's a very bright guy. Like I said, he aced his SATs.
Yeah, I think I'd heard that.
Pretty amazing. Pretty bright guy. And a hell of a nice man.
Just the verbal.
Just the verbal, by the
Just
way.
the verbal part, that's right. Because he hadn't done math in 3 years. So
He was too smart
didn't get that part
for
of it.
math.
What?
No big deal.
He's too smart.
Think
for
of
math.
acing the verbal on the SAT
I know.
and then spending that much time in an NFL clubhouse.
I know. I was thinking that same thing. It's like, how could you exist?
I know. How did he get
That would be
into
really
football? That's something I wanted to
hard.
ask him. when
He's
we
just a
ran
real
out of
good
time.
kicker.
Well, no, I know, but how
What was he? One of these
I mean,
soccer players turned kickers?
Yeah, I don't know. Like that, I don't
Well, it's
know.
like
Here,
he
we
says he
talked to him
grew
for
up
all
reading a
time.
lot
Find out.
and doing video
Don't know
games and
anything
stuff,
about
and Andy's into reading and video games. He's been since he's young, and you couldn't get him to walk onto a football
Well, he'd be a
field.
good punter. You don't have to play football.
Can't
Well,
even
my
touch
legs
his
do make up
toes.
80% of my height. So.
Chloe
But it's just
kicked a
weird.
60-yard field goal in high school, actually.
Yeah.
All of his
Yeah.
background and bio that I read, I mean, he was a hell of a field goal kicker.
Is he a California kid?
Yep.
He is.
He played
indeed.
football varsity, so I guess he's
That's
just
good.
pretty much been doing
He
it.
played football varsity.
Varsity
That'd be
football.
varsity football.
Well, I mean, he played it in varsity.
Yeah.
Played for
There we go.
UCLA, right?
Sure.
You guys.
Yes, he did. He played for UCLA. That's right.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And
In
Walked
the
on
Pac-10. I
Which
don't
is
know
now
what
the
that means,
Pac-12.
but he did.
Which
Very
is now
good.
the Pac-12. That's an
it's
old
now the
Bible.
Pac-12. Yeah, that's right. It's now the
Vince,
Pac-12.
you went to St. Thomas Academy, didn't you?
STA and UST.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
Sister
With their
school.
Hockey program and everything else has come on quite a bit over the last few years.
Yeah, you know, my stepson is a junior at STA.
That's crazy.
They suffered a tough loss the other night.
Hey, you said he has a car. I was like, he's driving.
He's
What?
6'1", 205.
No,
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 Honest to
no.
God,
not.
yeah,
He's an absolute monster.
What?
Unbelievable.
And they had to do a fitness test for in military class yesterday. He did 23 pull-ups.
Jesus.
I can do that.
At that size? I mean,
That
that's the thing,
size,
it's
that's
just
a ton. He's a
Jeez
really
Louise.
strong kid.
It's a ton.
Wow.
It's a great school, and the kids are doing well. The girls are a little too much estrogen at times in the house.
Yep.
What he has around here?
I could tell that.
Oh, it wants to be.
Hey, we're doing a podcast, so I can tell this story. A year ago, I'm going through radiation, and I couldn't make a trip to London. That Lisa was going to go over there with her best friend, Susie Fick. And I said, I still want you to go. I'm feeling a lot better. I was about 5 weeks through radiation at that point, and I was tired, but the pain had gone away. So I said, go. So we booked a ticket, and about a week before she leaves, I'm hearing all these rumblings from Ingrid, between Lisa and Ingrid. So I said to Lisa, before you leave, you need to go to the store and get whatever it is that you girls need when this happens, because I just know you're gonna be in London and it's gonna happen. Well, sure enough,
Oh,
she
no.
goes to London, doesn't go to the store, and Ingrid comes home from school and says, Dad, the conversation I was really hoping I could avoid ever having with both of my daughters.
No.
Dad, she tells me the whole deal. When I get to heaven, I want to see this video of me standing in the Walgreens feminine product aisle for at least 30 minutes.
Oh my god!
Do you know how many options there are, Tom?
Oh, yeah,
It's
absolutely.
ridiculous.
It is insane.
It's actually
I
ridiculous.
had to buy shampoo the other day, and there was literally like 20 feet of just shampoo.
Well, this was, So that was the highlight of my fall last year.
No,
I would admit, I remember, as a matter of fact,
Just come
we
back
have
with
two
everything.
sisters.
just buy it all.
Little
Variety pack.
menagerie. Variety pack.
My
yeah.
two sisters, Bobby and Vicky, right? So I don't know how this had happened, but Vicky is, I think, 12 years old at the time. And somehow something was broken in the bathroom, and there was a shard of glass in the tub that nobody picked up on, right? So Vicky goes in to take a bath, slides into the tub, and cuts her,
Derriere?
butt cheek.
But
So she's yelling, Bobby, 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 come in here. So she stands up, and there's blood running down her legs, and Bobby goes, there comes a time and everything.
Oh my god!
There comes a time.
where every girl
Just
cuts
the
her ass.
conversation she had. Yeah.
How are we doing on time?
We're good. We're good.
Okay, I just want to make sure we don't hold you up. Because Chris Louie came in. We initially thought he'd do about a half hour. He's here about an hour and a half. So I don't want to keep everybody too long. In any case, so November 13th is. I thought it was your 15th book. Why did I think that?
I don't know. I just I know it's the 14th. I lose track of it sometimes too.
Yeah.
The funny thing is now people are coming up to me and they're saying, "You remember in such and such a book when?" And I'm like,
"Did I write that?"
Yeah.
No, I don't remember. And I don't know how much of it is the medication I'm on, which affects my memory a little bit, and how much of it's my age, and how much it's a lot of. I'm also kind of a forward-looking person. I don't go back and read my books. I had to go back and read Transfer of Power a couple of years ago when I started the prequels because I needed to kind of know what was going on. And then I read Pursuit of Honor, just about the first 100 pages, because this book, The Last Man, is back to the here and now. Mm-hmm. So as I sat down and read those first 100 pages of Pursuit of Honor, it brought everything back, and I was like, okay, I remember all the stuff. I sat down and wrote it. But yeah, it's 14, working on the 15th. I've always had 20 in my head for some reason.
Oh, really?
So I'll go to at least 20, and then beyond that, I don't know. At what point do you turn it into a punchline? At what point? Well, I'm just saying, like Dirk Pitt. People say, Clive Cussler got a little long in the tooth, and you keep publishing the Dirk Pitt novels, and all of a sudden there's 30 Dirk Pitt novels, and all of a sudden he's 70.
Yeah.
And he's out there, so you got to kind of be somewhat careful of it.
But how about Elmore Leonard?
Well, Elmore, he changes a lot of characters.
He does. That's the key.
What I love about Elmore is his heroes are always the least nasty of all the bad guys. His books are populated with a bunch of often scumbags. Like Get Shorty is a great example.
Yes. Yeah, perfect example.
And then his hero is the one guy who actually has a moral compass.
Yeah.
And it's a great, it's fun to write about bad characters, especially in the end when they get it.
Right. I just think
I love that too. Yeah. It's like, get him.
I think Elmore Leonard, unlike many, and maybe you could come up with several examples, but Elmore Leonard can write about inner city Detroit and great westerns.
Yeah,
he does both brilliant.
I think he's just a uniquely gifted person who is very visual, and he can put himself in a place and a time and describe it. His dialogue is always spot on.
It is, yeah.
Which dialogue is often the thing that most writers can't get. They just miss it. Grisham's good at it. You never read a Grisham novel and say to yourself, "Ooh, that didn't sound right." Yeah. A lot of other authors, you do that. You read it and you're like, "Oh, that's a flat line. The editor should have caught it, or somebody should." And this is another writer reading, especially when I'm in when I'm in editing mode. I have basically stopped reading that last month because I just can't pick anything up without wanting to get a pen out and fix it or change it.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do to Vince what I always do to Vince. I'm going to get them all fired up. How could the United States government hand the citizens this line of bullshit that it was a movie that drove people to kill our ambassador to Libya when they knew all along it was Al-Qaeda who did it? And they had everybody fired up about some stupid-ass movie they knew all along that wasn't true. Mm-hmm. So I can see the look in your eye that you might have an opinion about that.
I'm trying to kind of bite my tongue. I'll take a slightly different tact. I think the media has become an absolute disgrace.
No question.
And if we ever turn back from this abyss, in 20 or 30 years, they will be teaching this in journalism class, that the media just absolutely let this country down. They so have blindly, they so badly want, political correctness to be right. And they want to see the culmination of everything they've been taught for 30 years, that this guy is the answer. And the truth is, it doesn't matter what your skin color is. It doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are. None of that stuff matters. Talent it goes across all sections. Right. And some black people are very talented and some people aren't.
Right.
Some white people, skin color doesn't matter.
No,
but they somehow have it in their head that this guy should get a pass because he's an African American. That's my personal opinion. I genuinely believe that. And the problem I have is if George Bush had done anything like what they just did in Benghazi,
right,
the media would be all over him. And here's the other thing. the media would amplify the Harry Reids and the Nancy Pelosi's and everybody on the Hill that would be demanding an immediate investigation of how George Bush and his administration let this happen. What I find telling is I think probably the smartest person in the whole administration is Secretary of State Clinton.
Yeah, I think
typically.
You know, I've got a new respect for her, and I don't know why.
So ask yourself this one question. In all the years we've been following politics, when have you ever seen the ambassador to the United Nations go on all of the Sunday morning shows to answer questions? It never happens.
Right.
No.
It's the Secretary of State or the National Security Advisor or the President's Chief of Staff, possibly the Vice President, and someone like that. So why did she end up on those? She ended up on those shows because Hillary said, I'm not going on there because I know this is a bunch of crap.
It's all bullshit.
It's a lie. So we're going to send somebody else to go make that lie because I'm running for president in 4 years. And I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot. She has removed herself so smartly from all of this. She's put herself at arm's length from the whole thing.
I think she has too.
I just find it so disturbing that apparently they think that we're so stupid. Have you seen the film, The Innocence of...
No.
Oh, my God. It literally, the dialogue is overdubbed. So because these actors who were in it didn't know they were in a movie that was supposed to be anti-Muslim, right? Mm-hmm. They didn't know, so they'd be like, you know... And I've used this line a few times now, but it's this bad. I was walking down the street with 2 girls. I mean, the overdubbing is that
horrible.
bad. Right?
It's like the old Japanese movies that we watch.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. You know Brian Callen? Brian's an actor. You'd know him if you saw it. Did you see The Hangover?
Yeah.
Okay, he played the Indian pastor at the chapel.
Yep.
That's Brian Callen. We're talking about this, very thing with him. And he had the very same opinion. It's like, how could anybody be so stupid as to think... Because he grew, I don't know if he grew up there, but he lived part of his youth in the Middle East.
Yep.
All over the Middle East. And he said, that's not how Muslims are. He said, Muslims want to laugh and they want to go home to their family. They're not all these ultra-religious psychos that we see every day. So for the average Muslim in Libya or Egypt, or go down the list, to react to a stupid-ass film, they would know by watching the film. The overdubbing was so horseshit. They'd go, this is ridiculous. This would never have happened. Just by coincidence on September 11th.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, there's a couple things. I always look at the, friends of mine who voted for President Obama who thought literally that all we had to do is elect this guy and all of our problems with the Muslim world would vanish overnight.
Yeah, they wanted to believe that. Yeah.
And I was like, really? You might want to do a little reading. You might want to study Wahhabism. You might want to study some of these other violent sects within Islam because they're not going anywhere. If nothing else, they're going to pick up steam. Where I would disagree with your actor friend is we spend too much time in this country trying to constantly come to the defense of Islam.
That's true.
And say, oh, you know what? It's less than 1%, and the truth is, no, it isn't. If you read the polls, if you read the polls within the Muslim communities around the world, you will find 70+% think homosexuality is an abomination. 40+% think that a homosexual should be stoned to death.
They can execute them. Absolutely.
Yes. Adultery. Your wife deserves to be beaten and stoned. It is not a religion of modernity. Now, that's not to say that there aren't people within Islam that are modern and are peaceful.
Right.
But there is a problem when you sit there and you look at the last 10 years. And you look at all of the violence that has been perpetrated by Muslims, mostly against other Muslims, by the way, because they're in this fight that they think that their strict, virulent strain of Islam is the only way. And the more we stand up and give Islam this blanket apology or this, not an apology, but we stand up and we give it this blanket, not all Muslims are this way, we are doing a huge disservice to moderate Muslims. We need to defend them and condemn the violence. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a real problem when you can get thousands of people in Cairo to show up and start firebombing the U.S. Embassy. and our consulate in Benghazi's burned to the ground. I'm sorry.
Well, that's easy to do, though, because they've got a huge population of uneducated, unemployed people that are
I've always said
waiting
the
for a
key
fire.
to the future of ever helping the Middle East out of this and helping Islam become more modern is women. The biggest problem they have over there is women have no say in what goes on.
Right, exactly.
And I liken it to this, Catherine.
But once again, they're executed if they say anything.
Well, they are in certain quarters,
or...
but it's getting better. But my point is this. Tom and I would be complete idiot, moron losers if it wasn't for you and Lisa. If you guys didn't civilize us and tell us, hey, idiot.
Well,
no, you cannot go to your friend's house and smoke cigars and drink 4 bottles of wine again tonight.
Right.
And then get up and play golf tomorrow.
There's
other shit you've got to do.
What?
But you know what I'm saying? Our wives, we help. I'd like to think that men and women help each other become better people. It's not that's not a crazy thing.
No,
ultimately, that's what we're here to. But in Islam, if the one sex is silenced, think of the stupid stuff that guys do.
Oh God!
It'd be like the U.S. before 1920.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm serious. I mean, you look at it and say, one of my great challenges is that I don't know how the hell we deal with it. I mean, we have no chance of going over and changing the way they think or feel. And almost all of these, as you even write about, it's all Sniperville. Yep. It's not real war. It's not real combat. It's all sniper situations. I've had friends that have fought over there.
Yep.
And it's absolutely ridiculous for us to think that we can go over them and truly help them.
Our only hope is the internet and satellites. It's the only way. Because right now you've got.
What do you mean?
Because the spread of information and the intermerging of cultures. Because right now, what you've got, these people that stormed the embassy in Cairo and killed our ambassador in Benghazi, these are young, violent men who have no female role models in their life, who show up on Fridays at the mosque, who get some crazy imam, stands up and spews all this hatred, and they run off and they go do this stuff. Well, the best way to combat that is the spread of information, to get them to understand freedom a little better, to get them to understand that it is not okay to think that you need to exterminate all the Jews or all the Coptic Christians. That's the other thing. No, we don't talk about any of that in this country. They've been killing Coptic Christians left and right in Egypt, all because they're Christians.
Right.
That's all. And I think that's our only hope, because I agree. Being over there, and I write about it in the next book.
Yeah.
It's a no-win situation. Afghanistan is the most backward country on the planet.
Right. Well, back to the spread of information. Isn't it illegal to have unedited Western thought
it's illegal,
over there?
It's illegal to have satellite TV in Saudi Arabia. You're supposed to get a permit for it. But guess what? Everybody has a satellite dish on their roof.
Saudi Arabia is a little bit different.
Guess what they're streaming? Porn. They're streaming porn.
Oh, absolutely. By the ton.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
God. They're ridiculous over there. I mean, I have some friends that live in Dubai, and just listening to what's going on over there. I mean, Dubai obviously is much more progressive than the rest of the Middle East.
I do think there has got to be some way, somebody, and I don't know if it's the Saudi royal family, and most Americans don't understand this, because there's a huge schism between the Sunnis and the Shia.
Huge.
And they hate each other, and they were killing each other by the hundreds of thousands for decades before we went over there and got involved in 91. And they're still going to continue to do it. But they somehow have to have a religious summit and at least sign something that says we're going to stop killing each other.
Yes.
Somebody has to lead that, and I don't know who's going to. It would have been nice for President Obama to do that, as opposed to go on the apology tour and make it sound like America is the problem.
Right, because we're already the scapegoat of a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
How did they try to sell us this bill of goods a few months ago? That the Muslim Brotherhood was a progressive.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, remember they tried to sell us that bullshit?
That is.
Oh, come on! I mean, I can't remember you lined up the guests, and I can't remember who it was. But we talked about that very thing about the Muslim Brotherhood. Was it Frank Wuko? I think it was Frank Wuko.
Muslim Brotherhood was what spawned al-Zawahiri, and it was what Osama bin Laden eventually came under their spell. They've been preaching the overthrow and the hatred and assassination of Jews and Christians and a lot of Muslims who disagree with them. They were behind the assassination of Anwar Sadat.
Right.
They're
Do you think it's the moderate Muslims' job, really? Like it's their place, maybe, to do something about the extremists?
They have to start policing their own country. And I think that anytime you have a society, and imagine this in America, where you find out one day that a 14-year-old boy goes to a mall and blows himself up and kills a bunch of people that they disagreed with, and the mom gets on television and holds up a photo of him and says he's a hero.
Right.
That is how warped that culture is. That somehow, I mean, in America, if that happens, the mom is going to go to the parish or the synagogue or the church and find the priest that talked this kid into doing it.
Right.
And that guy he's done. He's thrown in jail. He's maybe taken out back and beaten to death. Who knows? But he's not celebrated. And over there, those guys are celebrated. Those clerics that stand up and talk those kids into saying, basically, you know what? Your life on earth is so worthless. The only way to salvation for you is to put this vest on and go kill all those Jews. Or in Iraq right now, or in Afghanistan, go kill your fellow Muslims because they're a Sunni and you're a Shia and you disagree with each other, so go blow them up.
Well, look at Germany. Back when Hitler came to power, they were destitute. Same situation. You're dealing with a bunch of people that are starving. They feel like they've got no other choice. I think people naturally always go towards the good if they can. Yeah. But if they can't, they go towards whatever the hell is there that will show any kind of leadership.
So it's interesting that what you just said there. Yeah. I have a slightly different twist on it. Yeah. What people will typically do, or they'll do it if they're pushed in this direction, is rather than take any ownership themselves for the problems that are surrounding them, if somebody stands up and forcefully says, it's not your fault, it's the Jews, the people will go, you're right, it isn't. I don't feel like being blamed for this. So that guy looks very convenient. Right. And in Muslim worlds, Muslim nations across the Middle East, you hear it all the time. Ahmadinejad is a classic. It's not your fault. It's the Americans. It's the Satan. It's the West. They're the ones that are keeping you down. We're not in their country. We're not keeping them down. They're keeping them down.
Right.
No, there's no question about that. But they still.
Well, everything comes down to power. I mean, really.
Well, I talked to several people about organizations talking about the Nazis and you go online. When these clerics set out to do the job in the first place, the very first step they take is they locate as many mentally ill people as they can find.
Yes.
That's what they do. They find the mentally ill because they will do whatever you tell them to do. And it's a very sad story. I mean, some people, they don't have the capability to reason. And so they'll go, oh, you're absolutely right. Because they're hearing and seeing God anyway.
Are you talking about the Wall Street movement? By chance?
Well, there is.
How about that for media bias? Media bias?
Yeah, I know.
I don't think being a college student is legally considered mentally ill yet.
No, don't tell a lot of parents that.
Paying that much to get a 4-year degree that gives you very little right now?
I got my degree in biochemistry. Time to go, work at McDonald's for the next 20 years.
I don't have an affiliation with either group, Tea Party or Wall Street, the Wall Street movement. But just think about it from a macro sense. Take a step back. So the Tea Party stands up and says, you know what? We're $15 trillion in debt. Government has doubled in size in the last 50 years. Spending's out of control. Dang it, we need to get this thing going in the right direction. And they're labeled what? Radical.
Radical, absolutely.
Radical. And any economist will tell you, other than Paul Krugman, who I think is an abject moron who probably... Can I get sued for slander on the show?
Well, we're talking about insurance.
Can I say personal? In my personal opinion.
There you go. That's all you got to do.
My personal opinion, there's a good chance that guy's a half a you-know-what. But they never address the issue, these Keynesians, of... The debt that you're giving to the next generation. It's generational theft. They're stealing that money.
Right.
So the Tea Party is labeled radical for coming up and saying something that we all kind of know. They're spending too much money. They're labeled radical. They get together. They have rallies. There's never any garbage left anywhere. They always pick it up and they leave peacefully. Wall Street comes along. They're defecating on squad cars.
Right.
They're slandering
They're doing drugs
Jews
everywhere.
They're raping women in the park. They're doing drugs. You name it. And the media bends over backwards to make it seem like this is perfectly normal, and they're not the radical ones.
Right. It's crazy.
I don't understand. When did we turn from America to whatever we are now? I remember back when I was a kid, it was a good thing if you worked hard and succeeded. It was a wonderful thing. Oh, look at this! Look at the success this person has had.
You know what it was, Tom. There's a moment you raised these two kids right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
When those lefties started taking over the school boards. And the athletic associations, and the kids stopped keeping score in soccer and that was the beginning. That should have been the first sign when they took dodgeball out of gym class. And I'm sorry, but there was all
dodgeball was brutal,
no
man.
Well, stand in the back corner and keep your hands in front of your face.
Well, as you know, I talk about Arbitron now because this is not a radio broadcast. It has nothing to do with them. What they are now is everybody gets a trophy.
Yeah.
Everybody gets to be in first place now. Well, here's your turn. Now it's your turn.
You know what, though? When you've got little kids and they're all sitting there, trying to play soccer and they're all huddled in and they can't even get the ball out of the little huddle because they don't know what they're doing. You kind of feel like, what's the point of scoring? We're learning
You're
soccer
talking like
here.
4-year-olds.
Yeah, you're talking T-ball. That's fine.
But here's another story.
I mean,
you can still keep score. And the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Yeah. And my kids all left those fields when they weren't supposedly keeping score, and they all got in the car and said, we won or we lost, and it was 4-3. Right. They remember.
I know, but but part of you, when they're little, you kind of want to let them have a little bit of a free childhood for a little while.
I disagree.
Just start punching them as soon as they come out.
No.
It's not about that. It's about fair competition.
It's about fair competition, and they still need to know that there's a winner or a loser, and there is value in them losing and telling them, if you don't like it, you have two choices. Stop playing soccer or work harder. And come back and try harder next week and work on your game.
But couldn't there be like a little age? Like 6, 7, then you start learning the hard lessons.
You're training them the wrong behavior at a very young age. Just to tell the story very quickly, I've coached my kids for years in sports, and Aiden, my son, played flag football last year, so they got to play a game in the Metrodome. Mm-hmm. So we're playing this game. It's a 70-yard field. Blah blah blah. We get down to the last 20 seconds. We're allowed to call 2 timeouts. I called my first timeout about halfway through the game. Second timeout, I call with 20 seconds left to go in the game. We're down 5 points. I call a timeout. The other coach went absolutely ballistic, and the other parents started screaming at me. I mean, it was embarrassing. I looked at my other parents, and I said, am I wrong here? We were allowed 2 timeouts.
What's the problem?
Oh, they were livid. They're like, this is a game in the Metrodome. It's supposed to be fun, and you're calling a timeout? I said, well, it's all year long. We've gotten 2 timeouts. Yeah. But I'm not. That's what he's talking about, is that if you start... Kids need to realize that we live in a competitive landscape. One of the greatest challenges with this country, I agree with you on this, Vince, is a lack of a competitive nature. We have an entire generation of kids, because I've tried to hire them, because I'm 41. I've tried to hire this next generation of kids that are not competitive at all, or they feel bad if they're competitive sometimes.
Right. Well, I'll give you an example. I started writing term limits. 5 years, 60-plus rejection letters. Eventually, I had to self-publish it.
Right.
Yeah.
I used to take those rejection letters and pin them up on the bulletin board of where I wrote every day, and I'd look up at them and I'd say, I'm going to prove you guys wrong. Now, that mentality of not quitting came from my parents and my coaches and teachers at St. Thomas Academy. I don't think kids are getting enough of that. I think there's probably any year in this country 100 novels that are better than anything I will ever write. And the difference is that person quits. They get 10 rejection letters and they bail. And they say, I'm no good at this. And they didn't have 4 brothers and 2 sisters and a big Catholic family where you're beating the snot out of each other. And people are telling you to suck it up. And you know what? Life isn't fair. That's the bottom line. Life isn't fair. You have to work for it. And you're not always going to get what you want.
I agree. I agree with what you're saying. I really do. But on the other side, the flip side is you see these little kids playing soccer and the parents are screeching and yelling and they're getting in fights in the stands.
Yeah,
and I mean,
And I wonder if part of that isn't a reaction to this whole not keeping score and everybody gets a trophy, that certain parents feel like they're losing their grasp on raising their own children, so they're trying to work extra hard to instill this old school attitude of you got to work, you got to run, you got to hustle. I do agree, though, that's a problem. And I remember when Dane was playing traveling basketball in Edina, I started bringing a book to every game. Because we were at a game up in Woodbury, and a parent got thrown out of the gym right in front of me for actually being correct, and the ref was a complete idiot. He tossed him out of the gym, and I said, I would have punched the ref, and I would have been on ESPN.
Yeah, you would have.
And I would have been sued for millions. So every time one of Dane's games would start going south, I'd either start reading or I'd get up and leave the gym.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't take it.
Right.
And you can't, you're right, you can. There's too many lessons to be learned along the way. And you cannot change the course of that game sitting in the stands screaming at your son or the referee.
Right.
You just can't.
No, but they try.
Some of them do try. And I think what's funny is the more violent the sport, the worse it is. You see it with Pop Warner football, and typically it's out in California or Arizona or Florida or Texas, and there's a bench clearing brawl with parents at the end of the game.
Right, exactly.
It's like...
Well, throughout my life in high school, when I quit high school, my guidance counselor said, just go get a job at a factory because you're never going to amount to anything. And I never forgot that. When I first got into radio, they said, no, you're not going to make it in radio. You can do overnights or something like that. When I first started doing voiceover, they said, you're never going to make it. You sound way too urban. That's what they told me.
That was when you had cornered the ad market on Jerry Curl in the 70s.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But they said because of the tone of my voice, the pitch of my voice, I sounded too black.
Yeah. So
you'll never make it in voiceover. You never make it. My own general manager at KQRS, where I've been for 27 years now, after about 45, 50 days, he went to the program director and said, "Get rid of him. It's not working. You got to just get rid of them because it's not working."
Most successful local radio show in the last, 50 years.
In the United States,
plus,
about a quarter of a century.
Yeah.
But every one of those times, and the program director said, "Why don't we wait till the first ratings come out and we'll see what happened? Why don't we wait till the first book comes out and we'll go from there?" Luckily, we went from a 5 share to a 9 share, almost doubled the ratings in 90 days. Otherwise, this show would have ended. It would have ended after 1.5 months.
And if you didn't have that internal desire to prove people wrong,
absolutely,
you would have folded.
There's no question about that. And I still hear it. You know what's really funny? I'm, coming to the end of my radio career now, the next, 4 or 5 years, something like that. And I still hear, well, you really suck. It's like, what? Well, what can you ever achieve?
Well, you can't please everybody. That's for
no,
sure.
you can't. I mean,
no matter what you do,
it's a huge marketplace. And you look at all the different formats that are on the morning drive time dial, and I always look at it. If somebody comes up to me and it doesn't happen very often because people typically they don't want to hurt your feelings. I laugh. I'm from a big family, so I'm I have siblings that don't like my books, that don't read my books. You're not going to hurt my feelings. People will say to me, I don't like thrillers, and I'm like, you don't need to explain that to me.
Right.
It's go read Stephen King. It's a big marketplace. I'm never offended by somebody who wants to read Nora Roberts. I'm like, good for you.
Good for you.
I don't expect everybody to read my books.
Right.
And there's an example of that with a local businessman. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. He insisted upon meeting me. He wanted to meet me. And I always say no.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I don't know someone. If I don't meet someone naturally, it's really uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable.
It's really uncomfortable. So finally, some friends talked me into go out on this boat, this guy's boat on the lake. So we went out, and I leaned over to one of the people. I said, "I guarantee you he forgot something back at his house." He goes, "Why?" "Because he wants to show me his house."
Yeah.
That's why he wants to show me his house on Lake Minnetonka.
Yeah.
So he'll have forgot something. We are literally backing out from the dock, and he goes, "Oh, you know what? I left the wine at my house, so we'll have to go to my house and pick up the wine."
This house, it looked like a hotel, I bet.
Yes, the house looked like a hotel. So his girlfriend comes over, and she goes, "So I understand you're in radio." I said, "Yeah." And she says, "So what do you do?" I said, "I do a morning talk show."
Yeah, radio.
Where do you do that? It's a KQRS. She goes, I've never heard you. I said, yeah, I understand. I understand.
No need to tell me.
No need to tell me you've never heard me. That's what. Then she goes, I listen to blah, blah. And I said, that's good for you. If you like that, that's
Seems
wonderful.
about your speed.
And seems about your speed. And then she said again, this is a true story. We have friends that can tell you this actually happened. But she said again, so I've never heard you. I said, yeah, I know, I heard you. I heard you the first time. Yeah. Listen to so-and-so, and that's good for you. Well, I just like that radio station because, I don't know, I guess if I had heard you, I said, shut the fuck up. And she goes, what? I said, shut your fucking mouth. I've heard you 5 times now. Tell me you've never listened to me. You're not going to listen to me. I'm happy for who you listen to. So as I'm explaining this to her, the host then comes back. He goes, what's the problem here? And I said, if your girlfriend says one more word to me, I'm going to throw her in a fucking lake. That's the difference, okay? I still have that thing in me.
You sound psychotic. But,
there, it's been said.
But I swear at women and throw them in.
I've never grown that extra layer of skin that you have. That I can just let it go.
No, I know.
That's in our genes, Tom. That's in the gene pool.
Keep pushing it.
Hey, I was, getting in public fist fights up until a couple of years ago. And
that one time at the hotel.
Yeah.
That wasn't your fault, though.
Well, it's never my fault. No, I got a bad Irish temper. But with the writing, I've never allowed myself, and we've talked about this, Tom. Tom Tracy, who I went to high school with, is still my best friend.
Right.
And there's a bunch of guys that I hang out with that I've known forever, before I hit it.
Right.
And my wife keeps me unbelievably grounded.
Yeah,
one of the many things I love about her is she gets kind of mad at me for saying this, but she is completely unimpressed by what I do.
Yeah,
and I prefer it that way. Could you imagine being married to a fan?
To a dish rag?
It would be the worst.
It would be horrible.
So, I have that grounded family. I have 4 brothers, and the way we speak to each other is, hey, fuck nuts, or moron, or half a retard. And that's how we express our love to each other. And trust me, if I ever started to act like I actually believed my headlines, they would slap me down so hard.
Oh, yeah.
You would too. It's no way to go through life. So what you kind of have to do is you realize, we're at your house right now. And I've been over here plenty of times with my wife and the nannies and Letterries, and we have that close group of friends. Mm-hmm. That's real.
Right.
When you go to Vegas, that's not real.
Not real.
When I go on tour, it's not real.
Right,
those people they think they know me, and what's really weird,
I know.
It's worse for you. For me, people think they know me because they read my book, which is it's different than what you do on the air because it's you talking.
And he's there every day.
And so I kind of liken it to this. People are avid fans of your show. They listen to you every day. They think that they have this extremely deep relationship with you. So when they finally meet you, they come up. And they already know you to a certain extent.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And it's basically like they're driving 60 and you're in park. And all of a sudden, they're like, Tom! And they start talking. And you're like, I don't know you. I don't want to know you. I already have enough friends.
It was really weird when the kids were little, and they go through all that stranger danger and don't ever talk to this person. And even if they say that the dog is lost and they have the dog, all this stuff. And then all these strangers would come up and start talking to Tom. And they're like,
drive up to our house. Remember that?
Drive up to the house.
And they'd be like, why is Dad talking to that stranger? And it's like, they're a fan.
Like
it was really hard on you guys. You guys got really frightened, and they didn't like it, and people felt like they could just come up anytime.
Even when I was in kindergarten, people would come up to me and be like, "My dad says he likes your dad. He wants to come to your house."
Yeah.
So I was like, "What?"
But there's the opposite of that.
Creepy.
Yeah.
We have a guy, one of our listeners, because I have made friends from the show. I mean, we're not, hanging out together and all that, but we went to see Nick DiPaolo at the Pantages Theater. Nick is one of my favorite stand-up guys in the world.
Yep.
And I saw a listener who was sitting in the first row. It was hard to miss him because he was wearing a KQRS baseball cap.
Yeah.
Right? So I went up to him, and said, hi, how you doing? Because he always comes to Vegas. I see him in Vegas every year. His name is Chris Ketchmark. He's a doctor.
Yep.
But I saw Chris sitting in the front row, so I went up and, said hello to him, this, that, and the other thing. Right? So then when the show was over, a bunch of people came over that, 90% of them I didn't know.
Yeah.
But, said hello to everybody and, this, that, and the other thing. And I listened to the podcast, so I introduced everyone else there. And Chris kind of hung back and at the very end came up and said, thanks for coming up and saying hello and goodbye. So the next day, I look on Facebook, and Chris had written on Facebook, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions, but I got too nervous. And that hit me a different way.
Oh. Yeah.
It was like, he's the nicest guy in the world. Chris is a great guy, first of all. But it's like, Chris, you know me well enough to ask me any question you want to ask. So there's the other side of that coin, too.
I told my wife this last weekend. I can't believe I'm going to say this because I'm probably going to get in some kind of heat. We were at a charity event in town that was very sad. It's called Humor for the Tumor, and it was Mike Nanny, who's a dear friend of both our families, had passed away the night before. And all I wanted to do was get to Francine and Lou and, give them a hug and tell them how bad I felt for the family and Tino and Mark and Marty and Michelle and Sheila, Mike's widow. And every 5 steps I was getting grabbed.
Yeah.
And people wanted to just talk and, could you please sign this? Would you come speak at this charity event? And I was actually talking to Francine, who just lost her son. And some guy starts tugging on my sleeve.
Yeah.
And I turn around, the guy's like, can I? And I said, give me about, a couple of minutes. I mean, I thought I probably looked like I was going to strangle him. And
yeah.
I said to Lisa later, I said, you know what I've realized? It's the weird people that want to come up and just whatever you're doing, they don't care.
No, they don't
and they
care.
barge right in on whatever conversation. We've talked about this. Nothing pisses me off more than somebody who comes up and interrupts Lisa and I.
Oh, yeah.
And looks me in the eye and starts blabbing and doesn't bother to say to my wife, excuse me, or something.
She's not even there.
Oh, I've actually had people push me aside. Push me. And I'm like,
so
why
I started to not feel bad about it. I started to realize these people, it's not about me, it's about them. It's all about them.
It is.
And so I've just said, you know what? I'm just going to sit in my house and drink wine.
Well, it's a situation where you and I and, the people we know, we're very grateful for the fans and for the readers.
Yeah.
Because they gave us everything we have. They give our families everything we have. It's that one group of people, like you said, where it's all about them that drives you fucking crazy.
And I agree with what you said. I've met a lot of great fans over the years that are really nice, interesting, genuine people, to the point where, in certain cities, I'll have dinner with them.
Right.
When I'm traveling.
Right.
And they're great people, and locally I've met a lot of great people that way. But some people just don't get the boundaries.
No, they don't. It's true. We've kept you for an hour and 20 minutes. This is unbelievable.
That's fine.
You'll come back on.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Okay, the name of the new book,
The Last Man.
November 13th.
And if you go to my website, vinceflynn.com,
okay,
we're going to give away one advanced reader's copy every Friday from now until the book pubs November 13th.
If we send
and we'll link to your deal, too.
We'll link to yours, too.
Okay.
Just so you know, Vince.
So
we'll link to his website from our website.
And just so you know, I understand none of this.
No, I understand. But if you could let the people know that we're going to send a tweet to your Twitter page.
Okay.
So if they could just retweet it. They don't even have to write anything. They'll just retweet it to let your fans know that you're on.
Got it.
So that'll work very, very well. So I don't know who does that or whatever.
David Brown, who is he's great.
Oh, good. So
he handles it all.
Stuff.
Yep.
David, thank you, by the way, for noticing this. A portion of the profits of the Tom Barnard Podcast goes directly to the Smile Network. The Smile Network is a nonprofit organization that provides life-altering, reconstructive surgeries and related health care services to impoverished children and young adults in developing countries. The Smile Network, together, we are constructing lives one bright, smiling face at a time. The Tom Barnard Podcast giving away $5,000 on October 11th to one of our lucky listeners, and we'll give a matching donation to the Smile Network. All you have to do to enter is go to our website, TomBarnardPodcast.com, click on the banner or the Enter Now button. The contest promotes sharing the podcast through Facebook, Twitter, email, and more. We'll contact the winner of $5,000 on October 11th, and you'll be interviewed on the show. The 30-day giveaway of the $5,000 at TomBarnardPodcast.com. Ha, you waved your arms and it didn't work.
Rats.
You tried to get me to
We're making you mentally stronger.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to Vince Flynn. Thank you to Chris.
Thank you, Vince.
Because he was on the
Thank you for having me.
And Chris Louie.
I will see him on Sunday.
You'll see him on Sunday at the game.
From afar.
Maybe he'll kick you
from
ball
afar
or something.
Let me ask you a question.
To the face.
Let me ask you a question. Something that Dan told. You have to meet Alex's boyfriend.
Dan told you what?
He told me.
He's like, no, boyfriend.
She sits up in her chair.
What did he say?
He told me you want to try out to be a Viking cheerleader.
What?
It's
Tramp.
a joke. No.
Tom, I'm glad you spent all those thousands of dollars on dancing lessons.
Going to good use.
No,
it's just I want to go try out. I don't want to be one.
What?
I just want to go through the tryout process with all of them.
I've given Sophie
It's such a weird little. You have to know about like dancing.
Isn't that a little bit like
like
an alcoholic saying, "I want to go to that meth house, and I'm not actually going to try the meth. I just want to see what it looks like inside."
The thing is they're so bad. Like the Vikings cheerleaders are bad. They're bad. I'm sorry. They don't do anything very well. I'm sorry.
Right.
Like they're
Shake
not.
their pom-poms.
Yeah, but their audition process is so hard. It's
Is it really?
really weird. You have to be a really good dancer to be a Viking cheerleader or whatever, dancer, cheerleader. But what they actually do is not difficult, and they don't do it well. They tell them to do things kind of poorly.
So you're going to go change
but
the whole
it's no, I don't want to change it. I don't want to be a Vikings cheerleader. I want Emily, my friend Emily, that I've danced with for years.
Is this going in the show?
That's cool.
She wants to have a lark.
That is cool.
Big brother.
That is really cool. Shouldn't we cut this out? Well, we had to be careful too because we have friends who have daughters or had daughters on dance lines.
Yes, and
cheerleaders.
Well, the
coaches of many
Timberwolves ones
things.
are good. We know Bianca Lettieri.
Great recovery.
They are good.
Well played. Fantastic.
It's a thing
That's
in the
not
dance.
what you were saying before we started this.
That's exactly right.
No, it's a thing in the dance world that like football cheerleaders are kind of a joke.
Okay.
I
just want to have a lark.
I didn't know that.
I
guess I wasn't aware of that.
I wasn't aware of that either.
Now you know in the dance
they
world.
wear skimpy little things, and there's like a bikini
Maybe instead of dropping my girls off at their dance lesson every week, I should go in there and hang out with all the moms.
Sure, absolutely.
And get my finger on the pulse of the dance world, and I would have known that.
Viking cheerleader world.
Yeah. No, basketball dancers are good though.
Okay,
That's good to know.
Because dance moms are very sane as opposed to football and soccer moms.
This one.
They don't have anything invested, just thousands of dollars every year, countless hours.
It's a weird little world.
$20,000 in outfits they'll never wear more than once in their life.
Well, that's exactly right. We'll end the podcast with Vince Flynn by saying, is this all really going on the show?
No, that was your son. I didn't say that.
Yeah, it was Andy.
That was Big Brother.
Thank you very much for listening. Have a great day.